How do the super rich donate $1 million and somehow keep the money in their own pockets? It sounds like a magic trick, but it's a very real and surprisingly legal strategy. Let's break down how this works. Imagine you're a high-income earner and you've just made a lot of money this year. You're looking at a huge tax bill, maybe 30 to 40% of your earnings. You want to reduce that tax burden, but you also want to keep your wealth within your family. So what do? You don't just write a check to a random charity. Instead, you create your own. This is called a private family foundation. Setting one up is simpler than you might think. You file some paperwork, define a charitable purpose, like supporting education, arts, or scientific research, and then you, your spouse, and maybe your kids become the board members. It's your own personal charity, and you control it completely. Now for the brilliant part. You take $1 million of your pre-tax income and donate it directly to your newly established family foundation. Because it's a registered charity, this $1 million donation is tax deductible. If your tax rate is, say, 30%, you've just saved yourself $300,000 in taxes right off the bat. That's a huge win. You've lowered your taxable income, and the government essentially rewards you for it. But here's the million-dollar question. The money is in the charity now, not your bank account. How do you get it back? This is where the strategy gets really clever. Your foundation, which you control, needs help managing its affairs. It needs to find worthy causes, manage investments, and handle administrative tasks. So your foundation decides to hire a consultant. And who is the perfect candidate for this consulting job? Your son or your daughter or another trusted family member? The foundation's board, which, remember, is you and your family, agrees to a consulting contract. Let's say the contract is for $900,000. This payment is for their expert advice and management services. Think about what just happened. You donated $1 million to a charity. You got a $300,000 tax break for doing so. Then, your charity paid $900,000 to your son. The money has effectively moved from your personal account through the foundation and into your son's account. It never left the family circle. Let's look at the numbers. You started with $1 million. You spent that $1 million on the donation, but you saved $300,000 in taxes. And $900,000 is now with your son. So the family is effectively up $1,200,000 compared to just paying the tax. You've essentially been paid $200,000 to move your own money around. Of course, this isn't without its rules. The IRS has regulations about what's called self-dealing and reasonable compensation. The consulting fee paid to your son has to be justifiable. He can't be paid $900,000 for just a few hours of work. There needs to be a legitimate contract, documented work, and the compensation should be in line with what other consultants in the field would earn. This is the gray area where the ultra-wealthy employ teams of expensive lawyers and accountants to make sure everything looks legitimate on paper. They'll create detailed reports, log hours, and create a paper trail that makes the $900,000 fee seem like a fair market rate for the specialized services provided. The charitable purpose of the foundation also has to be met. The foundation can't just exist to pay your family members. It still needs to donate a certain percentage of its assets each year to actual public charities. Typically, private foundations are required to distribute about 5% of their assets annually. So, in our $1 million example, after paying the consultant, there's still $100,000 left in the foundation. The foundation would then be required to donate about $5,000 of that to an external, legitimate charity like a hospital, a university, or a food bank. This small $5,000 donation is what makes the entire structure legally charitable. The foundation has fulfilled its legal obligation. It has made a charitable contribution. The fact that 90% of the initial donation went back to the family is just a side effect of operational costs. So, to the outside world, you look like a generous philanthropist. You've publicly donated $1 million to a good cause, your own foundation, which probably has a very noble-sounding name, like the Smith Family Foundation for Global Improvement. You get the social credit, the tax deduction, and the warm, fuzzy feeling of being a benefactor to society. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, you've masterfully channeled the vast majority of that money right back into your family's control. The $100,000 remaining in the foundation can be invested, grow over time, and continue to fund these small annual donations and, potentially, more consulting fees in the future. The foundation becomes a self-sustaining financial vehicle for the family, all under the protective, tax-exempt umbrella of a charity. This is a simplified example, but it illustrates the fundamental mechanics of a strategy used by some of the wealthiest people in the world. They leverage the tax code, which is designed to encourage charitable giving in a way that also maximizes their family's wealth. It's a parallel financial system, completely legal, yet largely inaccessible and unknown to the average person. It's not about just saving on taxes. It's about creating a multi-generational wealth transfer system that operates almost entirely outside the standard tax framework. It raises a lot of ethical questions, doesn't it? Is this truly in the spirit of charity? Or is it a loophole that allows the rich to opt out of the tax system that everyone else contributes to? The law, as it stands, allows it. As long as the paperwork is correct and the compensation is arguably reasonable, the system works. It is a powerful demonstration of how financial literacy and access to sophisticated legal and accounting advice can create outcomes that seem almost impossible. Next time you hear about a billionaire making a massive donation to their own foundation, you'll have a better idea of the complex financial engineering that might be happening just below the surface. It's a fascinating world. Thanks for watching. And if you found this interesting, be sure to follow for more insights into how money really works.